Okay, today we're looking at present perfect or the past perfect. It's sometimes quite confusing when we've got all these have, has had, had. When do we use them? Well, first we're going to look at the verb have, and we use it have as the main verb in a sentence. We're talking about our possessions, our family, or if we have got an illness. I have got 2 dogs. I've got, or I haven't got. I don't have any children. She has a sore throat. Have you got a sore throat? So we're using have as the main verb in the sentence. I have a shower every day. We're using the present simple here. I have. I had lunch very late yesterday, the past tense. And we're using the present simple in a question. Can we have a chat about your homework? Two ways of talking about having a job. I work, or I worked in the past. I have a job now. I had a job in the past. So let's look at these in the past simple. So the simple past is used when we're talking about a specific time in the past. That's an action completed. It's happened, it's gone, it's not happening now. I worked in London for 5 years. In the past, it's finished. I had a job in London for 5 years. It's in the past, it's finished. When we look at the present perfect, we use have as the auxiliary verb in a sentence. So not the main verb, but the auxiliary verb, the secondary verb. Actions which have started in the past but have some importance or some relevance to now. I have made a cake. I started it in the past, but I have it here now. Would you like some? And we're using have or has plus the past participle of the verb. So she has, we're using the auxiliary verb, has gone, the past participle of go, to hospital. She has gone to hospital. She's still there. She went to hospital yesterday, maybe, in the past. But if we say she has gone to hospital, we know that she went to hospital and she is still there. So present perfect is an action that started in the past but has some importance now. I have worked in London for 5 years. So I have worked in London since 2017 for 5 years and I'm still there now. I have had a job in London since 2017. I have worked, so auxiliary, have worked, past participle, in London for 5 years. I have, auxiliary, had a job in London since 2017. Okay. And I'm still there. Present perfect questions. Have you taken, past participle, your medication today? Has she seen a doctor? Have they had their boosters? And negatives. I haven't referred this patient yet. The patient hasn't shown any symptoms of COVID. So far, tests haven't been conclusive. Okay. So the activity we did here Yesterday I broke a cup is past tense because it's yesterday, it's finished. So B is not correct. A is correct. You haven't taken your tablets. Not you haven't took. Took is the past simple of take. This one, they're both correct. I lost my keys. I have lost my keys. I lost my keys in the past. I have lost my keys and they're still missing. Angela has gone to Ireland. She's still there. Angela has been to Ireland. She went to Ireland sometime in the past, but we don't know when. Bill hasn't come in yet. We're still waiting. Bill didn't come in yet. No. We looked at some of the changes in the verb to the past tense and also looked at the past participle. Now the past perfect, sometimes people get a bit confused about. So we can say I moved to Manchester, which is past simple. I moved to Manchester in 2005. Okay. Before that, I worked in London. So how can we make that into a sentence using the past perfect? We're already talking about the past and we want to talk about an earlier time. I had worked in London for 5 years before I moved to Manchester. So we're talking about the past and something that happened at an earlier time. I had a job in London for 5 years before I worked in Manchester. Had in green here is the auxiliary verb and had the past participle of have. I had a job in London for 5 years before I worked in Manchester. So the past perfect, when we're talking about the past and we want to talk about something that happened before that and is related to it. John didn't play football on Saturday, last Saturday, because he had hurt his arm previously. Okay. The patient wasn't discharged as before that she had a relapse. The GP didn't write his prescriptions because he hadn't had his lunch. When we arrived, it had already begun. When I got home, they had their meal. So take a few minutes to have a look at these and put in the correct form of the verb in brackets. And is it negative or positive? The telephone wasn't working because we hadn't paid the bill. The woman told me that she had worked in China a few years before. Everything in the garden was brown because it hadn't rained. When she went to the doctor, she had been ill for some time. Before she collapsed, the patient had a series of headaches. And there's a very good video that you can have a look at, Puppet English, about using have, has, have had, had. I hope that's demystified it a little bit for you.